1 month after the attack on agricultural colony MK7, Ambassador Jin stood before the Galactic Council. The Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from over 50 alien species, all watching the human with a mixture of curiosity and concern. This was the first time Earth had requested to address the full council. Many counselors had expected humans to remain isolated in their small corner of the galaxy for decades more. Ambassador Jin was a tall woman with short black hair and calm eyes. She wore a simple blue uniform with Earth's emblem on the shoulder. She looked confident as she stood before the most powerful gathering in the galaxy. "Honorable representatives of the Council," she began, "I come before you today to discuss a matter of great importance. 1 month ago, an unprovoked attack was launched against one of Earth's colonies." Murmurs spread through the chamber. The representative of the Krellic Empire, seated far to the side, looked uncomfortable. "The attackers identified themselves as the Krellic Empire," Jin continued. "3 warships carrying 300 soldiers attacked our smallest, most remote agricultural outpost, Colony MK7. The Krellic representative stood up. "The humans captured our ships illegally. They used banned biological weapons. We demand—" The council leader, a tall being with silvery skin, raised a hand for silence. "You will have your turn to speak, Representative. Please allow Ambassador Jin to continue." Jin nodded in thanks. "I wish to clarify several facts about this incident. First, we used no banned weapons. The compound deployed was a non-lethal sedative, specifically designed not to cause permanent harm. All Krellic soldiers were treated humanely and have been returned to their government." She touched a control on the podium, and a holographic display appeared above the chamber. It showed images of MK7, the Krellic ships, and the brief battle. "Second, I wish to address why the Krellic Empire might have targeted this specific colony." The display changed to show detailed intelligence reports. "The Krellic scouts gathered extensive information about Earth's colonies. They specifically identified MK7 as our weakest outpost, with minimal defenses and only 7 security personnel." Jin looked directly at the Krellic representative. "Their intelligence was correct. MK7 is indeed our smallest, most remote colony. It houses only 200 civilians and 7 security officers. It has the most basic shield generators and no heavy weapons. Everything in their intelligence reports was technically accurate." The Krellic representative shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "What those reports failed to mention," Jin continued, "is what those 7 security officers actually are." The display changed again, showing the faces of Commander June Park and his team. "These 7 individuals are members of Earth's Special Weapons Division. They are not ordinary soldiers. They are our most elite operatives, specifically stationed at MK7 because we anticipated this exact scenario." A wave of whispers passed through the council chamber. For generations, humanity lived in fear of alien invasion. Our fiction was filled with stories of hostile aliens conquering Earth. When we finally developed space travel and learned we were not alone in the galaxy, our greatest fear was meeting a species that would see us as easy targets. Jin's voice grew stronger. "So we created a trap. We established Colony MK7 to appear vulnerable, staffed it with our best personnel disguised as ordinary colonists, and we waited. We knew that if there were aggressive species looking for easy conquests, they would target what appeared to be our weakest point." The display showed footage of the 7-minute battle. Council members watched in stunned silence as 7 humans systematically disabled 300 Krellic soldiers. The Krellic Empire has conquered 17 species, using the same strategy. Each time, Jin explained, they identify the weakest colony, overwhelm it with superior force, capture civilians as hostages, and use them to force surrender. She looked around the chamber. "This strategy failed against Earth because we were expecting it. The Krellic forces were defeated in exactly 7 minutes. The council leader leaned forward. "Ambassador, why have you brought this matter before the full council?" "The conflict appears to be between Earth and the Krellic Empire only." Jin nodded. "I am here for 2 reasons. First, Earth formally requests membership in the Galactic Council. This caused an even greater stir in the chamber. Many species spent decades as observers before requesting full membership. And second," Jin continued once the noise subsided, We wish to extend an offer of protection to any species currently under Krellic occupation or threat. The chamber erupted in loud discussions. The council leader had to signal several times for silence. Ambassador, the leader said, your second point is extremely unusual. Earth is a newcomer to galactic affairs. You have only 20 colonies. The Krellic Empire controls hundreds of worlds across 3 galactic arms. How could Earth possibly offer protection against such a power? Jin smiled slightly. Because MK7 was our weakest colony. The implication hung in the air. If Earth's weakest outpost could defeat elite Krellic forces in 7 minutes, what could their strongest military bases do? Earth does not seek conflict, Jin clarified. We wish to join the galactic community in peace, but we will not allow any species, including our own, to be conquered or enslaved. She looked directly at the Krellic representative. Commander Darroch was returned to your government with a message from Earth. I repeat that message now for all to hear. Earth extends friendship to all peaceful species, but we will respond with overwhelming force to any aggression. The Krellic representative sank back into his seat. In the back of the chamber, observers from many worlds watched with great interest. Among them were representatives from some of the 17 species conquered by the Krellic Empire. For the first time, in generations, hope showed in their eyes. The council leader called for order. This matter requires careful consideration. The council will recess to discuss Earth's membership request in this unusual situation. As the council members filed out, many glanced back at Ambassador Jin with new respect, and in some cases, concern. 2 days later, Earth was granted full council membership by unanimous vote. The Krellic Empire announced the release of all subjugated worlds and a new policy of peaceful coexistence. Back on Earth, in the headquarters of the Special Weapons Division, Commander June Park received the news with satisfaction. On his desk sat a report about 3 more colonies like MK7, each designed to appear vulnerable, each staffed with elite forces, each waiting for the next threat that might test humanity. How long until the next trap is ready? Asked General Cho, formerly known as Dr. Hana Cho of MK7. June looked at the star map on his wall, showing dozens of potential colony sites. 6 months for the next one, but I doubt we'll need it. Why not? Because the message has been sent. June smiled slightly. Attack Earth's weakest colony, and you will lose in 7 minutes. I think that sends a pretty clear message about what would happen if someone attacked our stronger positions. General Cho nodded. And if someone doesn't believe the message? June looked out the window at the stars. Then we'll be ready for them too. Far across the galaxy on worlds newly freed from Krellic control, the story spread from person to person, from world to world. The story of how humanity's weakest colony defeated a galactic empire in 7 minutes. The story of how Earth changed, the balance of power in the galaxy in less time than it takes to cook a meal. The story that made even the most aggressive species think twice before threatening a human world. Because if that was Earth's weakest colony, what could their strongest do? 00Pi0. The timer began the moment the alien ships entered the atmosphere of MK7. Commander June Park activated it with a simple mental command through his neural interface. 7 minutes, he told his team as they exited the command center. That's our window. The 7 security officers moved with perfect coordination, their combat suits hidden until now beneath regular uniforms, adjusted to their bodies. The suits were thin but stronger than any normal armor, made of a material that could stop most energy weapons. 47. Inside the lead alien ship, Commander Darroch was shouting orders as alarms blared around him. What happened to the first wave? He demanded. Officer Merak checked the life signs monitors. They are alive but unconscious, some kind of chemical agent in the air. Deploy the second wave with breath filters, Darroch ordered, and target their main building with the ship's weapons. The weapons officer tried to comply, but the targeting system showed only error messages. Sir, weapons are not responding. Darroch slammed his fist on the console. What is happening? 1:12. Outside the colony's main entrance, June and his team approached the fallen alien soldiers. The aliens lay motionless on the red dirt, their weapons still clutched in their hands. "Secure their weapons," June ordered. "Officer Sun, analysis." Officer Sun knelt beside one of the aliens and scanned its weapon with a small device. Data flowed directly to the neural interfaces of all team members. "Energy-based," she reported. "Similar to our pulse rifles but more power. Taking one for deeper study." Sergeant Tae Kim was already moving toward the closest alien ship, his movements quick but careful. "I count 120 more life signs in the 3 ships," he reported through the neural link. 40 in each. "Team split," June commanded. "Tae-sun Jin, take the left ship, Han Lee, right ship. Moon and I will take the center ship, their command vessel, 143. On the command ship, Darroch was getting desperate. The communications systems were failing, the engines wouldn't start, even the internal doors were beginning to malfunction. "How are they doing this?" he shouted. Officer Merrick looked at his scanner with disbelief. "Sir, I'm detecting nanites, billions of them. They're in our systems." "Nanites? But the humans don't have that technology. Our intelligence—" "Sir?" Merrick interrupted, pointing at the view screen. 2 humans in combat suits were approaching the ship. "Just 2. Darroch laughed harshly. "They send 2 against 40? Deploy all troops." 2, 15. As the alien ship's doors opened, Officer Moon smiled at Commander June. "They're doing exactly what we expected," she said. June nodded. "They always do." The alien soldiers poured out of the ship, weapons raised. There were at least 30 of them, forming a semicircle around the 2 humans. Through his neural interface, June activated the second phase of the atmospheric compound. This one was different from the first, which had merely rendered the aliens unconscious. This compound targeted their nervous systems specifically, slowing their reactions by crucial milliseconds. As the aliens prepared to fire, Moon moved. She was the colony's hand-to-hand combat specialist, and now everyone could see why. Her movements were almost too fast to follow. She weaved between the aliens, her hands striking pressure points that Dr. Cho had identified in their alien anatomy. One by one they fell. Some tried to fire their weapons but found they couldn't pull the triggers fast enough. Moon was already onto the next target before their brains could send the command to their fingers. 30. In the left ship, Tae Kim, Sun, and Jin had encountered similar resistance. But like Moon, they moved with inhuman speed and precision. Their neural interfaces gave them perfect coordination, allowing them to anticipate each other's moves. "Ship secured," Tae reported after just 45 seconds. "All aliens neutralized. Officer Jin is accessing their systems now." From the right ship, Officer Han reported the same. "Ship secure. 28 prisoners, all alive. Officer Lee is treating 2 for minor injuries." 3:05. Commander Darroch watched in horror as the humans systematically took down his troops. These were not farmers or scientists. These were not even normal soldiers. "What are they?" he whispered. Only 10 of his soldiers remained standing now. They had retreated to the bridge, sealing the doors behind them. "The doors won't hold them," Merrick said, his voice shaking. "Nothing stops them." As if on cue, the bridge doors slid open. Officer Moon stood there alone, not a mark on her, not even breathing hard. Behind her came Commander June Park. He walked calmly onto the bridge, looking at the aliens with curious eyes. "Commander Darroch, I presume," June said. Darroch raised his weapon, but before he could fire, he found he couldn't move. His body was frozen in place. "Neural inhibitor," June explained. "Targeted to your specific brain patterns. We've been studying your species for some time." So 4:16. With all 3 ships secured, June activated the colony's communication system. His voice broadcast not only to all parts of MK7, but also directly into the neural receivers of the alien ships. "Attention hostile forces. This is Earth. Black Site MK7. You have attacked a classified testing facility of the Terran Special Weapons Division. Your biological data has been collected. Your technology is being analyzed. Your invasion has been contained. Through his neural interface, June received confirmation from all teams. The aliens were secured. Their technology was being studied. The nanites that Engineer Bay had designed were mapping every system in their ships. Dr. Cho, June called through. The link. Begin full biological scans of our visitors. I want to know everything about them. Strengths, weaknesses, vulnerabilities. Already in progress, Dr. Cho replied. The children are collecting excellent observational data. The children of the colony were actually advanced AI learning systems designed to observe and analyze alien behavior. Their innocent appearance was part of the deception. 5:38. Commander Darroch found he could speak, though he still couldn't move. You will regret this, he said. The Krellic Empire will not stop with one failed attack. We will come with 1,000 ships next time. June smiled slightly. That's exactly what we're counting on. He turned to Officer Jin, who had joined them on the bridge. Send the signal. Jin nodded and activated a hidden transmitter. Far above MK7, beyond the reach of the alien sensors, a small stealth satellite. Received the signal and relayed it to Earth. The signal is away, Jin confirmed. Earth Command now knows the Krellic Empire is our first contact. Darroch's eyes widened. First contact? But our intelligence said you had been in contact with the Galactic Council for years. False intelligence, June explained. Fed to your scouts deliberately. Everything you think you know about Earth and humans is wrong. 6:22. The 7 human security officers gathered on the bridge of the command ship. They stood before the captured alien leaders, their combat suits now fully visible. The suits were black with the emblem of Earth's Special Weapons Division on the shoulders. 6 minutes and 22 seconds. Take him noted, looking at the timer. Not our best work. Officer Sun laughed. We had to be careful with the equipment. Next time we can be faster. June looked at Darroch. Your empire has conquered 17 species, Commander. 17 worlds that didn't see you coming. But Earth has been preparing for this moment for decades. Impossible, Darroch whispered. You're just farmers. This is a farm, June agreed, but we're not growing crops. We're cultivating invasions, luring threats like you so we can study them. 7. Exactly 7 minutes after the alien ships had entered atmosphere, June received confirmation from Earth Command. The message was simple. Protocol Omega-7 successful. Prepare prisoners for transport. Additional forces en route. June smiled at his team. 7 minutes. That's a new record. He turned to Darroch. Commander, on behalf of Earth, I welcome you as our guest. You'll be treated according to all interstellar conventions on prisoners of war. Your biology and technology will be studied, and then you'll be sent home with a message. What message? Darroch asked. That Earth is not what you thought. That this colony, our weakest and most remote outpost, defeated your best forces in 7 minutes. And that if you ever return, June leaned closer to the alien commander. We won't be so gentle. Next time. When the alarms first sounded in agricultural colony MK7, none of the civilians looked surprised or scared. Instead, they moved with calm purpose, like actors who had rehearsed their parts many times. Inside the main laboratory, Dr. Hana Cho watched the alien ships descend on the monitor. She had already sent most of her science team to their stations. Now she turned to her assistant, a young scientist named Du Wu. Begin atmospheric diffusion sequence, she ordered. Du Wu nodded and began typing commands into his console. Beneath the colony, hidden machines hummed to life. The air processors that supposedly made the planet's atmosphere breathable for humans were doing something else now, something the colony's official records never mentioned. Diffusion will reach optimal levels in 3 minutes, Du Wu reported. Dr. Cho nodded. Perfect, that gives us time for the other preparations. Across the colony, similar scenes played out. In what appeared to be a simple classroom, Teacher Su Yun was guiding her 20 students into what looked like a standard emergency shelter. But as the last child entered, Sue pressed her hand against a hidden panel. The wall slid open, revealing a room full of advanced monitoring equipment. "Everyone take your observation positions," she told the children. "Remember your assignments." The children, none older than 12, moved to different stations with practiced ease. They weren't ordinary students. They were never meant to be. In the colony's maintenance sector, engineer Do-Yoon Bae accessed systems that didn't exist in any official blueprint. His hands moved quickly over controls that were supposed to regulate water recycling, but actually did something far more significant. "Shield polarity reversal in standby mode," he reported through his communicator. "Ready on your command, sir." In the command center, June Park stood calmly as he watched the alien ships land. Around him, his 7 security officers were opening weapons lockers that had been disguised as ordinary storage cabinets. Sergeant Tae Kim handed out what looked like standard military rifles. But any expert would have noticed these weapons were not the basic models colony security would normally carry. They were something else entirely. "Protocol Omega-7 is in effect," Tae announced to the team. "You know what that means." Officer Sun, the weapons specialist, smiled slightly. "It means we finally get to do what we were sent here for." June walked to a plain wall at the back of the command center. He placed his palm against it, and a hidden scanner read his DNA. With a soft hiss, the wall slid open, revealing a small chamber. Inside was a single metal case. June entered a code and the case opened. Inside were 7 small devices, each no bigger than a coin. "Neural interfaces," he explained, though everyone already knew. "Latest generation, not available to regular military yet." He picked up one of the devices and placed it behind his ear. It adhered to his skin instantly, its color changing to match his flesh tone. Soon it was nearly invisible. The other 6 officers did the same with the remaining devices. Immediately, June felt the neural interface link with his brain. Information began flowing directly into his consciousness. He could see the colony's systems, the status of the atmospheric processors, the positions of the alien soldiers. Most importantly, he could mentally communicate with his team. "Testing neural link," he thought. "Link confirmed," came 6 simultaneous responses in his mind. June turned to a screen showing the alien ships. "Dr. Cho status report." Dr. Cho's voice came through the communication system. "Atmospheric diffusion at 30% and rising. The compound will reach effective concentration in exactly 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Selective targeting." "Confirmed?" June asked. "Yes. The compound will only affect the alien physiology. All humans will remain unaffected." June nodded. "Engineer Bae, shield status?" "Containment shield ready to activate," Bae's voice replied. "Once engaged, nothing gets in or out until we deactivate it." "Soo-yoon, are the children secure?" "All children are at their monitoring stations," the teacher replied. "Their observation data is flowing to Central Command now." June looked at his security team. These 7 people had been handpicked, not because they were troublemakers as their official records claimed, but because they were the best Special Forces operators Earth had ever produced. "You all know the real purpose of MK7, June said. "This is not an agricultural colony. It never was." The team nodded. They had all been briefed before coming to this planet, though the information was so classified that even they only knew pieces of the full picture. "For 3 years we've been waiting," June continued. "Waiting for someone to take the bait, to attack what they believed was Earth's weakest, most defenseless colony." He looked at the screen showing the alien ships. "Earth needed to know what threats exist out here, what kinds of enemies might come for us. So they created this place, a trap designed to look like the perfect target." Outside, the alien commander's voice boomed through speakers demanding surrender. June ignored it. "Each of you was selected because you're the best at what you do," he told his team. "Officer Jin, our communications specialist. Officer Sun, weapons. Officer Han, tactical. Officer Lee, field medicine. Officer Moon, hand-to-hand combat. And Sergeant Kim, the best special operations soldier in Earth's history." The 7 security officers stood a little straighter, their true identities acknowledged at last. What about you, sir? Officer Jin asked. Why are you here? June smiled slightly. Because I'm the one who designed Protocol Omega-7. The plan, to capture an invading force intact, with minimal damage to their technology, while ensuring zero human casualties. On the screen, they watched as the first wave of alien soldiers began moving toward the colony. Dr. Cho, June said into his communicator, are we at optimal diffusion levels? Yes, Commander. The compound is at effective concentration. Engineer, Bay, prepare to activate the containment shield on my mark. Ready, sir. June turned to his team. Remember, Earth wants prisoners and intact technology. We need to understand these aliens, learn their weaknesses, study their weapons. This is not just about defending MK7. This is about gathering intelligence for the defense of all humanity. The aliens were halfway to the colony entrance now. They moved with military precision, clearly expecting no real resistance. They think we're farmers and scientists, Tae Kim said with a slight smile. They have no idea what's about to hit them. June nodded. Dr. Cho, you may release the compound. Releasing now, she replied. Through the monitor, they watched as a nearly invisible mist descended on the advancing alien soldiers. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the first soldier stumbled. Another fell to his knees. Within seconds, all 60 aliens in the first wave collapsed to the ground, unconscious but alive. Containment shield now, June ordered. Engineer Bay activated the shield. What had appeared to be a simple defensive barrier designed to keep threats out now reversed, creating a dome that trapped the alien ships inside. On the alien command ship, alarms were blaring. The aliens had realized something was wrong, but it was already too late. 7 minutes, June said, looking at the countdown timer he'd started when the aliens first appeared. That's how long we have to take control of all 3 ships, secure all prisoners, and complete Protocol Omega-7. His team moved toward the exit, weapons ready. Let's show these aliens what happens when you attack Earth's weakest colony. Commander Darroch stood tall on the bridge of his warship. His gray skin stretched tight over the bony ridges of his face as he stared at the viewscreen. The small human colony looked pathetic from orbit. Just a few domed buildings and some fields, surrounded by the red dirt of this unremarkable planet. Is this truly the best target our scouts could find? Darroch asked. His voice was deep and scratchy, like stones being crushed. His second-in-command, Officer Merak, bowed slightly. Yes, Commander. This is the smallest and most isolated human colony in this sector. Our scouts report minimal defenses and only 7 security personnel. Darroch frowned. The Krellic Empire had conquered 17 different alien species across 3 arms of the galaxy. Their method was always the same: find the weakest colony of a new species, attack it with overwhelming force, capture the civilians, and use them to force the enemy government to surrender. It had never failed. But this human outpost seemed almost too easy. What do we know about these humans? Darroch asked. Merak touched a control panel and images appeared on the screen. Pictures of humans from various worlds, data about their technology, and reports from covert observations. They are newcomers to the galaxy, Merak explained. They have only 20 colonies outside their home system. Their technology is modest. Their military presence is limited. And this colony specifically? Agricultural Research Station MK7. Population, 200 civilians, 7 security officers. No heavy weapons detected. No orbital defenses. No military ships within 14 standard days of travel. Darroch nodded slowly. The scouts' reports are confirmed by our own scans? Yes, Commander. We detect only basic shield technology, standard communication arrays, and minimal power signatures. Nothing that suggests hidden defenses. The commander walked to the front of the bridge. Through the large viewing window, he could see his 3 warships positioned above the colony. Each ship carried 100 of the Empire's elite soldiers, 300 warriors against 7 security officers. The plan remains standard, Darroch decided. First wave will land and establish a perimeter. Second wave will secure the civilians. Third wave will set up the command post. Merak saluted. Yes, Commander. Shall we begin the intimidation protocol? Of course. Darroch smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Let them know who their new masters, R. On his command, the 3 Krellic warships began their descent. They moved in perfect formation, their engines glowing blue against the red sky of the planet. As they approached, they activated their external weapons systems. The weapons wouldn't fire yet, but the humans would see them powering up. Fear was a powerful tool. Inside his personal quarters, Darroch put on his battle armor. The black metal plates locked together around his tall frame. The armor was ceremonial more than practical for this mission. He did not expect to need protection. Against 7 lightly armed humans, a young officer entered after knocking. "Commander, we are approaching the landing zone. The humans have detected our presence. They appear to be moving their civilians to shelter areas." "Good," Darroch replied. "They know enough to be afraid. Have they sent distress calls?" "Yes, Commander. They contacted their Earth command." "Excellent. Let their government know they are being invaded. It will make negotiations simpler when they realize their people are our hostages." The ship shuddered slightly as it entered the lower atmosphere. Darroch walked back to the bridge, his armor making metallic sounds with each step. "Show me the colony," he ordered. The view screen activated, showing a close view of the human settlement. The dome structures looked even smaller from this height. In the fields, Darroch could see tiny figures running toward the buildings. "Magnify those humans," he said. The image zoomed in on a group of humans hurrying across a field. They were not soldiers. Most wore simple clothes, some carried children. All moved with purpose but without panic. "They are too calm," Darroch noted with slight concern. Marek looked at the screen. "Perhaps they do not understand what is happening. Or perhaps they were expecting us." Darroch turned to his tactical officer. "Scan again for hidden defenses or underground structures." The tactical officer worked quickly at his station. "Scans show the same results, Commander. Standard shelter areas beneath the main buildings, but nothing unusual. No hidden weapon emplacements. No military-grade power signatures." Darroch relaxed slightly. "Begin landing procedure. First wave prepares. To deploy." The 3 ships descended to the surface, settling in a triangle formation around the main colony building. Dust swirled around them as their landing gear touched the red soil. Inside the lead ship, Darroch addressed the first wave of troops. 60 Krellic soldiers in full combat armor stood at attention, weapons ready. "This mission is simple," Darroch told them. "Secure the perimeter. Identify the human leadership. Prepare for civilian processing. Remember, we want live captives, not bodies." The soldiers saluted as one. Darroch nodded to the communications officer. "Activate external speakers. Let the humans hear their fate." Throughout the colony, the powerful voice of Commander Darroch boomed from the ship's external speakers. "Attention, human settlement. This is Commander Darroch of the Krellic Empire. Your colony is now under our control. Your world will soon follow. Resistance is futile and will result in unnecessary deaths. Surrender peacefully, and you will not be harmed. You have 1 minute to send your leaders to meet us." Inside the colony's command center, Commander June Park listened to the alien message. He showed no fear as he looked at Dr. Cho and his security team. "Well," June said calmly, "at least they speak our language." Back in his ship, Darroch watched the colony through the monitors. No response came from the humans. No one emerged from the buildings. "Their minute is up," Marek noted. Darroch nodded. "Deploy first wave. Standard formation." The doors of the lead ship opened, and Krellic soldiers marched out. They moved with practiced precision, forming an advancing line toward the main colony. Entrance. Their black armor gleamed in the red sunlight. Their weapons were raised but not yet firing. From his command chair, Darroch watched their progress. "The humans still make no response?" "None, Commander," the communications officer replied. "No transmissions, no visible movement." Darroch frowned. In his long military career, he had seen many reactions to the first sight of Krellic troops. Fear, panic, sometimes foolish attempts at resistance, but never this calm silence. The first wave of troops reached the halfway point between the ships and the colony entrance. They moved through the fields of strange earth plants, crushing the vegetation beneath their boots. "Commander," the tactical, Officer called suddenly. I'm detecting a change in the atmospheric composition around our troops. Explain, Darroch demanded. The air, it's changing somehow. But our sensors can't identify. The officer's words were cut short as the monitor showed the first Krellic soldier stumble and fall. Then another dropped, and another. What is happening? Darroch shouted. On the screen, the entire first wave of soldiers was collapsing, their bodies hitting the red dirt one after another. None had fired a shot. None had even reached the colony entrance. Bioweapon, Merak yelled. The humans have deployed. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Warning alarms blared across the bridge. The tactical display showed the colony's seemingly minimal shield generators powering up to unexpected levels. Impossible, Darroch whispered as he watched the shield expand, not to protect the colony, but to create a dome around the Krellic ships and the fallen soldiers. They were trapped. And somewhere, in the colony, Commander June Park was smiling. Commander June Park yawned as he walked the quiet halls of agricultural colony MK7. The morning had just begun, and the artificial lights were slowly brightening to match the rising sun outside. This far from Earth, even the sunrise felt different. The local star was smaller and redder than Sul, casting everything in a soft crimson glow. June reached the command center and nodded at the night shift officer who looked ready to fall asleep at his post. Anything to report, Officer Han? June asked. Officer Han shook his head. Same as yesterday, Commander, and the day before that, and the month before that. June smiled slightly. That's the point of MK7, Han. Nothing happens here. That's why they send us here. MK7 was the smallest human colony in known space. Just 200 people, mostly scientists and farmers, working to test if this planet could grow Earth crops. The colony consisted of only 6 domed buildings connected by covered walkways. Around them stretched fields of experimental wheat and corn, protected by thin atmospheric barriers. June's security team had just 7 members. 7 soldiers to protect 200 civilians on a planet nobody cared about. Most people didn't even know MK7 existed. Go get some sleep, June told Officer Han. I'll take over. As Han left, June sat at the main console and began his morning routine. First, he checked the perimeter sensors. All clear. Next, he looked at the atmospheric readings. Oxygen levels were good. Then he reviewed the night's automated defense system logs. No alerts. Finally, he poured himself a cup of coffee from his personal thermos. Real coffee beans were rare this far from Earth. They were June's one luxury. The command center door slid open and Dr. Hana Cho walked in. Her lab coat was wrinkled and her eyes looked tired behind her glasses. You're up early, Doctor. June, said. Hana nodded. The new wheat strain is showing promising results. I couldn't sleep. June had always admired Dr. Cho's dedication. While most scientists saw assignment to MK7 as punishment, she treated it as an opportunity. Any word from Earth Command? She asked. The monthly supply ship is running 2 days late, nothing unusual. Hana leaned against the console. This place, it feels like we've been forgotten. Maybe that's for the best, June replied. No one notices us. No one bothers us. The truth was that everyone at MK7 was there because someone wanted them gone. June had questioned a general's battle strategy. Officer Han had punched a superior. Dr. Cho had published research that embarrassed her department head. MK7 was where Earth sent its troublemakers. People too valuable to fire, but too difficult to keep around. Run the morning diagnostic, please, June said to the computer system. The screen flickered with data as the colony's basic systems checked themselves. MK7 had the minimum required technology for a human settlement. Their defensive capabilities were especially limited. A thin shield barrier that could barely stop a meteor, let alone an attack. Outside the command center window, June could see the colonists beginning their day. Farmers headed to the fields. Scientists walked to their small labs. Teachers led children to the colony's only classroom. Among them was Tai Kim, head of June's security team. The man moved with quiet purpose, his eyes constantly scanning the area. Despite his disciplinary record, Tay was the best soldier June had ever worked with. June's communicator beeped. "Commander, this is Bay at Atmospheric Control. We're seeing strange readings in the upper atmosphere. Probably just solar flare activity," June replied. "Run a level 2 diagnostic." "All ready, did sir. The computer says there are objects entering our atmosphere. Big ones." June felt a chill run down his spine. He turned to the main scanner and increased its range. The coffee cup in his hand stopped halfway to his mouth. "Dr. Cho," he said quietly. "Look at this." Hana moved beside him and stared at the screen. "Those are ships, not human design." 3 large vessels were descending toward MK7. Their heat signatures suggested they were much bigger than the colony's small transport shuttles. "Could it be the Galactic Council?" Hana asked. The Council had never visited Earth's colonies directly, but it wasn't impossible. June shook his head. They would have sent a message first, and those ships don't match Council designs. He pressed the colony-wide communication button. His voice would now reach every building and field. "Attention all personnel. This is Commander Park. We have unidentified vessels approaching. This is not a drill. All civilians please proceed calmly to your designated shelter areas. All security personnel report to command immediately." Dr. Cho was already accessing the colonial database. "No matches in our files. These are unknown ships, June." "First contact?" he wondered aloud. "Or pirates," she replied. "We're very far from help." June nodded grimly. Earth's nearest military base was 2 weeks away at best speeds. They were on their own. The door slid open and Tae Kim entered with the rest of the security team, 7 people in total. 7 soldiers against unknown odds. "Situation, sir?" Tae asked. 3 ships of unknown origin. Size suggests they could be carrying hundreds of personnel. Intent unknown, but they're making no attempt to communicate. "Weapons?" Officer Sun asked. She was the team's weapons specialist. "Our scanners aren't strong enough to tell," June admitted, "but we have to assume they're armed." The room fell silent. Everyone knew what they were facing. MK7 had no real defenses, no heavy weapons, no battle training. They were farmers and scientists with a handful of security officers. "What are your orders, sir?" Tae asked. June looked at his team. Each face showed concern but not panic. Despite their histories, these were good people. "Dr. Cho, initiate civilian protection protocols. Get everyone into the shelters. Tae, distribute all available weapons to the security team. Officer Lee, establish communication with Earth Command. Tell them we have potential first contact or hostile approach." As his team moved to follow orders, June turned back to the scanner. The ships were getting closer. In minutes they would land. "And Tae," June added quietly, "implement Protocol Omega-7. Tae's eyes widened slightly, but he nodded without question. The protocol was something June had hoped he would never use, something only he and Tae knew about. Outside, the red sun continued to rise, casting long shadows across the colony's fields. In the distance, the 3 unknown ships grew larger in the sky, their hulls reflecting the crimson light. June Park took one last sip of his coffee. He had a feeling it would be his last quiet moment for a very long time.